So something I wonder, is there anything that could change your mind on Donald Trump? Is there any piece of evidence that could come out that would change your guys' mind? No? Sometimes it makes me feel weird though when we can look at every court case with Trump appointed judges that disagree with you, say they're rigged. We look at studies that disagree with you say the studies are fake. We look at all of the media that disagrees with you. Even Fox News lost a lawsuit to Dominion, and you say they're in bed with each other. So it makes me worried.
Who's Fox News owned by?
Who are you going to say, BlackRock or what? China or what?
BlackRock. He didn't do anything illegal.
You don't think so?
He has the ability and the freedom of speech to ask if the votes were counted correctly.
Well, it's not just freedom of speech. He tried to gather fake electors to replace the real ones in states like Georgia.
I just wonder too, I mean, how come almost everybody I know of that went to college is a Biden supporter?
Yeah.
And I don't understand how everybody is a Biden supporter if you just went to college. So what are they teaching in this college? Are they teaching anything?
Stuff like inclusivity and respecting other people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, woke.
So there you have it. The Trump cult in action. You know, a lot of times I have said that it's a Trump cult, and a lot of people say it's a cult. But you can see it for yourself. Even the MAGA organization says it's not a cult. The people within the cult says it's not a cult. But listen to these people. Look up the word cult in the dictionary. Look it up online. The definition of cult. Everything these people are doing is exactly that. You know, we used to laugh at this when these people would say these kind of things. We used to basically slough it off and just say, oh, it's just the crazy Trump supporters. That's just them. But you know what? Now I never thought it was funny from the beginning. You know, the late night shows, they would show some of these clips. You would see them all over online, people just making fun of how ridiculous these people are. It's not funny. It really isn't. If you really listen to what these people are saying and how deeply they feel about Donald Trump, this man has got total control over them. And you can hear it in every word that they say. Just some of the things, it's bone-chilling if you stop and think about it. What they're saying, they don't get their news from any source but Donald Trump.
How come the courts, not a single court out of these 70 cases, none of the judges, many of them Trump judges, ruled in the favor of people who believe that the election was stolen?
Well, who told you that?
Well, the judges in their rulings said all of that.
And how do you know that?
Because they issued public opinions and rulings, and because...
Where did you hear that?
Well, we heard it from the judges.
You heard it from the judges themselves?
Yeah, they issued rulings and opinions in open court.
On the news? Or did you read
They, on their dockets.
Well, we have judges in place all over the country. Some are from the deep state, some are from President Trump. And in the process of them denying those rights, well, then you go to the next judge, and exposure comes, and it's coming right now.
But exposure hasn't happened yet.
Oh, it's happening. Oh, yes, it is. You have to get off the news. You have to go someplace else and find it.
Can you point to me a single judge that has ruled that the election was stolen or that there was malfeasance that would have overturned the results of any state?
Look at the Supreme Court.
Well, the Supreme Court hasn't accepted any of these cases either.
How do you know that?
Because they have a docket and they list what cases they review and they issue their opinions.
You choose to believe that, you can believe that, but I have alternative news and I find out differently.
One of the ladies, I don't think it was on this clip, but one of the followers in that group of people, she said she doesn't trust mainstream media. And the reporter asked, well, where do you get your news from? She said, I get it from online. He said, well, what are the sources? And she said, well, I get it from like Newsmax and OAN or whatever that other radical news organization is. But she said even those are kind of slanted left. She said Fox News is liberal, according to her. That Fox News is corporate and they're liberal. That's funny. Fox News liberal. But it just shows how dangerous these people are and their thinking. Because if she thinks Fox News is liberal, we have a problem. And she's not the only one. So he kind of dug in deeper and said, so where do you get your news from? What is your source? She said, Donald Trump. That's where she's getting her news from. Mr. Donald Trump, everything that comes out of his mouth is guaranteed the truth with these people. They believe every single stinking word that comes out of this man's mouth. And they, I want to show you another video clip because this one is so scary. And once again, he is not alone. There's millions of these people out there. This man pretty much sums it all up on how Trump supporters feel about him.
They went after Richard Nixon, they went after Bill Clinton, and now the courts in several different states are finding different things about Trump. Is there anything that could happen with him indictment-wise that would say, all right, maybe this disqualifies him for president?
Not for me. I'm with him to the finish.
All right, thank you so much.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
Explain that to me. That's amazing. I mean,
look, he's the only man we've ever had in my lifetime that stood for America as president. Now, I was a George Herbert Walker Bush man and all that, but they don't anybody compare to Donald Trump. He loves this country, and that's why I love him.
But I'm going to push back a little bit because, and you're, I'm guessing, a couple of months older than me, but I'm going to say that, looking back at some presidents like Eisenhower, like LBJ, like Gerald Ford, like, Reagan, Bush, who you mentioned, yeah. What about them didn't stand for America in the same way that Trump does?
I think it's got to do with the times we're living in. America's being assaulted. Open borders, all the issues. We all know the issues. And nobody stood under the attack that Trump stood under. And look what he's done. He's hanging in there. He's for us. He loves this country. And I'm going to support him to the end. I hope he wins. We need him.
Early on in Trump's campaign in 2016, he basically said, I can go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and my followers would still follow me. Everybody kind of chuckled at that and thought, this man is crazy. This man is psychotic. But you heard it out of one of his followers' mouths. He can step out of the White House and murder somebody, and the man's still going to follow Donald Trump because Donald Trump speaks for him. Donald Trump represents America. Donald Trump cares about the country. He cares about people like him. These people are cult members, and it's going to be a long time to break these people. We can get rid of Donald Trump, but we're not going to get rid of these people. We're going to have to break up. This cult is going to take years, and they're probably going to cling to somebody else. They have a new narrative that they are now the voice of America. And at this point, it's basically true. They have such control over the Republican Party. It's ridiculous. Now, this guy said Donald Trump can step out of the White House and murder somebody and he would still follow him. He is not the only one. Everybody believes everything that Donald Trump says. What they don't believe, the truth, is that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about the country. Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about them. Donald Trump does not want to be president. I keep saying this, and people that have been around him say the same thing. He hated it when he was president. He didn't like it. And the only reason he's becoming president again is because he needs revenge. He needs to stay out of prison. He needs to make some decisions to wipe his slate clean from all the things that he has done. So the only way he can do that is to become president. He's got to go back to the White House. And that's one thing he doesn't want to do. He hated the work. All the local people that worked with him year after year during that term, they said he did not like to he loved going to the hate rallies, but he did not like doing the everyday job of being the president of the United States. So with these people thinking that Donald Trump is representing them and Donald Trump is standing up for America and he's a true patriot American, that ain't what it is. That's not why he's running for president. Donald Trump loves your money. He loves getting those dollar bills from you, and you guys keep sending them, and you are his number one customer. And no matter what, I can sit here and ramble on forever, but they're never going to believe anything other than Donald Trump represents them. He's a true patriot. He's working for them, and he is their leader. Like I said, the best thing to do is to go online and look up the definition of cult, and you're going to see Donald Trump. That's what they should just do online, is just put his face on there, because the way it's described, the definition of cult, is exactly what the cult members, Donald Trump's members, are doing. One of the people there too, one of the guys said that he wanted to know why educated people don't follow Donald Trump. He wanted to know why is it that college people follow Biden and not Donald Trump. They don't make that connection. That's why early on, Donald Trump, in his campaign, he knew the demographic that he was going after. He knew the genre he was going after, and he said it on stage, and they all cheered. I love the poorly educated, because Donald Trump has the handbook for dictators. Every dictator loves to get and cling to the uninformed, the poorly educated. Not as I said this before on one of my other radio shows. This is not an insult, but it's what these wannabe and dictators do. They go after the uninformed and the uneducated, undereducated, because they can convince them whatever they want. And this is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. I love the poorly educated. And one of the poorly educated just said on camera, why is it that college educated doesn't like Donald Trump? Why do they follow Biden? Stop and think about it. Put 1 + 1 together. Well, 1 + 1, that might be hard. But that's what they do. They want somebody to represent them, and if somebody targets them with words and phrases that they like to hear, Donald Trump, then they're going to cling to that person, and that's exactly what's happening.
Guarantee you over 100 million Americans are going to vote for Donald Trump, okay? Because they know he's the only one.
That would be more than voted for him in 2020.
Absolutely. He won. We all know this, right?
How do you know it?
Yeah, because what did the communists do? The Marxist communist Democrats went to courts. They used the virus to inflame fear. They went to courts and judges and changed the election laws illegally using courts and judges to mail-in voting and early voting, which is illegal.
But a lot of these judges were appointed by Donald Trump.
Which is illegal. It has nothing to do with that. What they did was illegal, okay? It's a violation of your Constitution and your separation of powers. Only the state legislators can change election laws, so making it a fraudulent election even before it happened.
How come none of the judges and none of the courts after the election agreed?
Why? Because they've infiltrated. These same people that we were talking about early, dirty people, they've infiltrated everything.
We are in for a rough 2024 with the election. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? But what we do know is we have a large mass of people that are clinging to a corrupt, horrible individual, a so-called business person that is coming close to going to jail. I don't think he's ever going to do jail time, and he is going to be the candidate for the Republican Party. And the way things are going, he has a very good chance of becoming president again. Democrats always slough it up. Donald Trump, never going to happen. Biden's going to do it. I am not betting on it. And I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on Biden, because you can't continue to run a campaign hating Trump, meaning that your whole the whole process of you winning is getting people to hate a man. That worked for the first time, but this time I think the Donald Trump base is growing larger, they're getting louder, they're becoming stronger, and if things keep going the way they are, I mean, a couple of things, the economy, people's, the gas prices, people making not enough money to get through the month, and then you have a sitting president right now that is clearly getting older, and he's looking older, he's sounding older, and people are starting to wonder what the hell is going on. And then you have this radical drumming up a huge base. It's very easy for Donald Trump to get into that White House again, so we can't slough it off. It can happen. We're going to see what happens. We're going to keep moving forward.